All right, it has been started.
Cool.
So, chapter 3. Oh man.
What are you guys' thoughts on the book?
Hold on.
Flip all the way back to chapter 3.
I was gonna say, let me get
this book was really hard to get into.
Yes, it's super hard.
I've noticed I like when I feel like a book is talking to me, if that makes sense. This doesn't feel like it's talking to me. It feels like it's throwing words at me. Like I don't feel engaged with it, if that makes sense.
Feels like history class.
I also feel like this is a book that you would read for like psychology a little bit more, rather than versus critical thinking.
It's super hard to digest a lot at once.
Yes.
What were some premises, I guess, you guys wrote for chapter 3?
Oh shoot! Oh god, I can't pull up my thing.
I'll share my first one. So in chapter 3, a lot of it was talking about dialogue and whatever. So my first one is that I just wrote about dialogue is a fundamental characteristic you need to function in society. And then I had a quote that pretty much went along hand in hand with that too.
Yeah, my first one was also about dialogue, and it said on page 90 that self-sufficiency is incompatible with dialogue. Which I don't really know what that means, but the quote.
And one that says education should push oppressed people and political leaders to investigate the themes of their time.
All very nice premises.
Yeah.
I said dialogue is necessary for the oppressed to achieve liberation. Dialogue is an act of radical love, an act of humility, an act of faith, and cannot exist without hope and critical thinking.
I almost went with that one.
I said the same thing, but I did like copy and paste from the thing, and it says false love, false humility, and feeble faith in others cannot create trust.
I think I highlighted that one.
Yeah. I kind of animated on page 89 where it says, because love is an act of courage, not a fear. Love is commitment to others. Kind of like, I think love is an act of fear, kind of, because you fear the thought of commitment sometimes. I mean, that's kind of a relatable thing for me at this time. Everybody has that fear of commitment. So I think love kind of has a fear factor.
Yes.
Like you guys said, he was kind of throwing out words at me. What were some of the passages that you guys took on? There was like a little less passages in this one, in these chapters.
Oh man, okay. Oh, that's a long one.
Yeah, they had like way much longer ones. I highlighted the one that was on. Hang on, I'll go back to it.
See, I just didn't want to read out loud a long one because I knew I'd stutter.
Yeah, like with Perry, he said the goal will no longer be limited to the risk of temporality by clutching to guaranteed space, but rather the temporal space. The universe is revealed to me not as space, imposing a massive presence to which I cannot, or which I can but adapt, but as a scope, a domain which takes shape as I act upon.
I applaud you for reading that.
No, for real.
I thought I could not really understand that at first, and then I think he was just kind of, because if you go back well behaved, assuming, because they're talking about humanization of men, so he's just talking about like scoping and how he adapts to his universe is what I kind of got at it. But then again, I could be wrong too.
um, oh man, I'm gonna try to read this. I'm sorry if I stutter. God. So, my second theme for what chapter am I on? Chapter 3. I said the main themes of our historical moments are domination and liberation. The limit situations are the structures of oppression that limit human freedom. And then the passage that I took from the book for it was, consequently, animals cannot commit themselves. Their ahistorical condition can or does not permit them to take on life, because they do not take on, they cannot construct it. And if they do not construct it, they cannot transform its configuration, nor can they know themselves to be destroyed by life, for they cannot expand their prop world into a meaning symbolic world, which includes, sorry, I'm reading this off of my phone.
No, you're good. You're doing great.
Oh, okay. As a result, animals do not animalize their configuration in order to animalize themselves, nor do they de-animalize themselves. Even in the forest, they remain being in themselves as animal-like there as in a zoo. Gosh, that was horrendous.
But that's good.
But I chose that passage because I was trying to like get the passages that I selected to kind of like, I don't know, relate to the premise that I put down. So for this, how I related it was the in limit situations. So like how animals can't take on life, and since they can't take on life, they can't construct it and then can't transform. And yeah, again, like we all said, kind of like he was throwing words at me.
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to like relate how my brain understands.
Yeah, and that goes back to something they said in like chapter 1 or 2, where they said something about like animals are freer than we are, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what I related it
Mm-hmm.
to.
Well, and it's been like kind of hard to figure out what exactly he's trying to say. Because like with that one, how like animals cannot take on life. Okay, well, what are you referring to? Because like obviously animals are alive, and I know that they can't like take on life how we do, but it's the whole, yeah, like I said, this whole book was very confusing in regards to like, okay, what is he actually trying to say? Like, what is he referring to? Because this could be taken in many different ways, you know?
Yeah, I guess in my head it's that like animals can't form that like consciousness and self-awareness. I guess they're not able to start the process of like recognizing that they are being oppressed, if that makes sense. Like take for example, chickens, like how we like to pump a bunch of chemicals in them and make them grow really fast. Like they don't understand that we are oppressing them.
Right.
But like humans, we can be like, oh hey, I'm kind of being stripped of my humanity right now. And then they can take the action of, demolishing that oppression. Also, I think since I have recorded a couple times, Zoom has like shortened my recording time, so we have like 6 minutes left. I think they shortened it to about 20 minutes.
Oh,
Okay.
can you not record the full 30 because of or because we
No,
waited?
but I think I could do a second one if need be. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Either or.
Do you guys want to go into chapter 4 then and just get that started?
That's what I was
Yeah,
about to
we'll
say,
just
so
get
we can
into
at least
chapter
touch
4.
base on both. Let me pull up my thing.
Chapter 4, I kind of liked how it dove into each concept as like its own section
Yeah.
towards the
Um.
so I don't know, I appreciated it more when he focused on like one thing. So when I was thinking about what he was trying to say in every sentence, it was like all relating to the same stuff.
Yeah, because it's really hard sometimes to tell when he switches topics. And I'm
Mhm.
like, what are we talking about now?
Kind of helps you gain more of an understanding that way when it's like sectioned off and you can actually identify what's going on, if that makes sense. Because I feel like sometimes it jumped back and forth and I was like, whoa, where am I? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, we came back to this. Okay.
Well, and I feel like I'm just a big reader in general. So anytime any book, fiction, nonfiction, whatever, jumps back and forth without giving like some kind of inclination of like, this is what we're doing, I'm like, okay, same like what you guys were saying. What's going on? Where am I? I
No,
don't
I'm
understand.
the same because I'm a reader too, which actually it kind of upsets me that like I'm not getting into this book as easily as like I would like to, because usually I can just get through a book easily, but like no, this one has been so hard and I don't like that.
Well, it's been very heavy. And like, I typically only read nonfiction for school because to
Yeah.
me, reading is it's fun for me. It's a way to escape, you know, like put aside all reality and jump into this like universe or this story. So I typically stick to fiction, but this like all the stuff in it is just super heavy, so it's hard to digest. And in my opinion, I'm like, it's not really fun. It's not something that I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I
No,
want to find
same.
with the murderer. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, it's just very dense, heavy material with,
Mhm.
you know,
Ooh. Or if, because I do read nonfiction sometimes, but usually if I do, it's like, someone's life. And like I said earlier, it feels like they're talking to me rather than like throwing it at me, if that makes sense.
yeah, talking to you rather than talking at you. And I feel like
Yeah.
this book is a lot of talking at you with a lot of big, dense material.
See,
Yeah, I feel like
actually, that relates to this book because they speak about like, uh, leading the revolution. You can't like talk to or do for the oppressed. You have to talk with, do with. I don't know, just a way to relate.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna jump off. I got some stuff to do. Yeah. Have a good
All right.
discussion.
Yeah,
Have a good night.
Adios.
Bye.
So, do you guys have your premises for chapter 4?
yes.
yes.
I did. So, my two premises, I kind of did one like more based on the oppressors and like their methods, and then the other one is like the oppressed and their methods, if that makes sense. So, like, I kind of tried to touch base on both of them.
So I kind of did it like, so my premises is like how they organized together for their liberation. And then when I went into the evidence and draw appropriate conclusions, that's when I talked about their ways of doing it.
See, so I still have to figure, or not figure, I still have to fill out the evidence parts, but my
That's hard.
what is it? My first premise is the key to an effective revolution is dialogue. Both oppressors and revolutionaries have methods of changing society, but the oppressors' methods are inherently anti-dialogue. Anti-dialogic. Yeah, I cannot pronounce it. Nope, not doing it. Then the second one is the oppressed must use methods such as cooperation, unity for liberation, organization, and cultural synthesis in order to pursue their movement for freedom. So like, and then the evidence will be going like just discussing those methods. So I guess I like listed them in the what is it, the oppressed but not the oppressor.
Mm-hmm.
For my premise, I talked about how people basically create how they perceive their own reality. And then from the book, I took many persons bound to a mechanistic view of reality, do not perceive that the concrete situation of individuals' conditions of their consciousness of the world, and that in turn, this consciousness conditions their attitudes and their ways of dealing with reality.